If you want better style in 2026, then you need to watch this video, as I'm going to be running through 9 outdated style rules that are hanging around like a bad trend that we really need to ditch for better style in the new year. If you're new here, hi, I'm Jamie Lee. I share a lot of brand reviews, style advice, and how to make the most of your wardrobe, and I'd love for you to subscribe if you enjoy this video. We're going to dive right in, and if you are curious about where anything I styled is from, it'll be linked down in the description box below. The first style rule we need to ditch in 2026 is that our hemlines can't be darker than our shoes. I'm not really sure where this one originated from, but it feels like it really puts a lot of limitations on styling and how we can put together an outfit. If you're someone who likes to wear a lot of darker bottoms, then that would mean that you're basically limited to pairing them only with dark shoes. I really like the look of a dark colored trouser styled with a lighter shoe. Maybe you're doing a high contrast moment, so we've got black pants and then a white shoe, really striking and it draws the eye. Or maybe we are styling up some really rich neutrals, and it's a way we can bring some warmth into the look, pairing our darker colored bottoms with a cognac shoe, for example. One of my personal favorite pairings is black with an oxblood or burgundy color, and while that is definitely deeper in saturation and it kind of has a real richness and body to the color, it isn't black, so that kind of goes against this style rule. I can understand how in some circumstances it does look jarring. I have an example here styling a mid-blue pair of jeans, and I've worn them with a lighter colored shoe, and to me this just looks a little bit off. But you can think of your outfit almost like an equation. While mathematically this particular set of variables doesn't work, another combination in your wardrobe will work, just swapping out the top and the jacket. This next rule also relates to color, but more so specific color pairings, and that we shouldn't wear black and brown together. Now this part of the video does include a paid integration with Lily Studio, and I'm really excited to be sharing with you some pieces from their new collection, which actually I'm wearing one of their cashmere cable knit sweaters right now and is utterly dreamy, and I'm really excited to introduce this brand to you, especially as I do have some discount codes if you do see anything on their website that you like, as it will allow you to save a little bit off your purchase. You can get 15% off orders over $199 with code Jamie15, and then 20% off orders over $399 with code Jamie20. I wanted to use some pieces from Lily Studio to illustrate this point and why I think that black and brown is just such a chic combination. So I'm styling this really beautiful wool jacket which has a nice texture to it, and it also has a scarf which is not attached, so you can either style the look with or without it, which I've styled with a pair of black pleat front pants which are also from Lily Studio. And what I really like about these is the belt loop design, as it almost looks like your belt is woven into the pair of trousers. It just looks really compelling and interesting to me. I've topped and tailed this outfit, matching my shoes to my coat to really create cohesion, but also to amplify that pairing of black and brown. This creates a little bit of a mirror image, and there's subtle variations in the color which are intriguing. When I take off the coat and the outfit is really just centered around the all black look, I feel like this is much less compelling, it's much less exciting. And it really made me think about this rule more broadly, because I for one have dark brown hair and I'm often typed as a winter season, and so that means that black is one of my best colors, especially worn near my face. So wouldn't that mean that I can't really wear black near my face because I've got dark brown hair? It kind of just made this whole rule feel incredibly preposterous to me, and one that I feel like we need to ditch. I also just wanted to highlight the color pairing of navy and black, as I feel like this is kind of lumped together with black and brown as color combinations that you should avoid. Again, this feels really interesting, compelling, and it almost acts like a tonal look, because when you think about it, navy does eventually scale up into black, especially when you get into those darker, inkier hues. You probably know by now that one of my favorite ways to style an outfit is to go monochrome or do a tonal look, because it is really elegant, it's effortless, and it's very easy to put together. And I think often we hear this idea, this concept that monochromatic outfits are boring, and what does make them boring is when you just have one flat texture. There's no visual interest happening, so the key here is to amp up that texture because it makes an outfit feel visually rich. So I've actually styled that skirt back with this Lily Studio cable knit sweater in the cashmere, and I've done a little bit of a tuck, so here we have more of that straight tailored fit through the skirt and then a slouchy knit, so we're playing around with balance and proportions. And then on top of that, I've layered this Lily Studio coat, which is a mix of wool, cashmere and alpaca, and it feels incredibly luxurious. I really like a long coat because it creates creates length and it really stretches the silhouette, and it is also a good option for petites too. The nice thing about this coat is it looks great both worn open because it does have that lovely folded over lapel, but then it also looks really chic and elegant when it's worn belted as well. I think also this just highlights how easy these Lily Studio pieces are to style. I went for some really classic options, but they have some incredibly captivating designs that are a little bit more unique, that have some really interesting colors and motifs. Definitely worth checking out, and I will be sure to link some of my other favorites from the website down in the description box below. Don't forget that you can save up to 20% off at Lily Studio using my codes. I'm going to have those on screen as well as all the details in the description box. The next style rule I feel like we need to ditch is that an outfit must be a combination of fitted and relaxed pieces. This is essentially the argument of slim versus big. And while I think that yes, this is an excellent way to bring proportional balance into an outfit, I don't think that it is the entire picture. We can definitely do big on big, but the way to make it work is in the details. We really need to be styling things in a specific way in order to avoid overwhelming our bodies. And yes, petites can do big on big as well. The key is finding the right proportions for you, because a piece that fits a certain way on someone who is, 5'8" or taller is going to hang very differently on someone who is 5'2". So I have these trousers from A Piece Apart, which have the most incredible exaggerated barrel leg design, and I especially love wearing these with an easy flat and a slim fitting tank because it highlights the voluminous shape of the pants and makes those the focal point of the outfit. However, I equally like it when it's styled with something a bit slouchier on top that is not tucked in. So instead of creating that shape and defining the waist, I'm hiding it. But what I'm doing is I'm tweaking the outfit in order to make these proportions work. So these trousers do have the benefit of being able to be hiked up a little bit. So I've done that in order to reveal a bit more of my ankle because we need to create some visual space in the look. Another way we can do this is by rolling up our sleeves. Another way that we can really make this work is to actually pull our hair back into a sleek bun. So this again helps create that visual space because when I have my hair down, it does have a lot of volume thanks to the air wrap. And so when I'm pulling it back, it reveals a lot more of my face and my neck so that there's a bit more of that on show as opposed to when my hair is down. And these are such easy tricks to make big on big work for you. Another option would be to style it with a smaller bag as well for that size balance. We need to stop always matching our shoes with our bags. This is such an incredibly outdated style rule. And while it is advice that I'm often sharing with my styling clients and also something I do frequently myself, it is not the main factor that I'm thinking about when I'm selecting accessories for my outfit. The thing is that in some circumstances, it actually helps to tone down an outfit, to dial things back and reduce any overwhelm. Stop an outfit from feeling too busy if there are too many elements or too many colors in the mix. If you've ever heard of the 3-color rule, this is kind of the golden number in order to keep an outfit feeling really harmonious and so that the eye settles nicely on it rather than feeling scattered like it doesn't know where to look. But in some instances, it can feel a little bit too matchy-matchy, and I think this is especially so where the textures are exactly the same, and just say for example you're wearing a leather pant, you've got a leather shoe and a leather bag. It just feels like a little bit too much leather. Some of the most compelling outfits I've seen incorporate bags and shoes which are in completely different colors, and it can be a great way to add depth to your look. So you can see in the example how I went from wearing a burgundy shoe and burgundy bag to a burgundy bag and a leopard print flat. To me, this feels equally cohesive. They go but don't match, and it's a way that I can easily add those layers of depth to my outfit. In the similar vein, belts should always match our shoes. So essentially this is all our leathers should match, and to me, I think this oversimplifies the styling process, and it really doesn't take into account how you want to feel in your outfit and what you're actually trying to achieve with the way that you're putting it together. This feels very elegant, very refined, very polished, and repetition is a great way to keep your outfit feeling cohesive in any manner, whether it's the colors, the shapes, or the textures. However, I think you can see a real difference between the two examples of where I've matched my belt to my shoes, and keeping in mind, yes, it is an all black look, and then where I've decided to go for a contrasting belt, one that really draws the eye. It kind of demands your attention and your focus, and I think it makes this very minimal outfit feel so much more visually impactful and interesting. It's a great way to add that element of contrast and just visual impact overall. Okay, this is one that we really need to ditch in 2026, that our outfits must be flattering, as in we should look slim in what we're wearing. This feels really tired at this point. The most important thing is that you actually feel good in what you're wearing. An outfit can be flattering, but it might not feel like you. It might make you lack confidence. And you know, I often say this as well, that the most flattering silhouette is an X-shaped silhouette. And this leans into that perspective of the hourglass silhouette, and I feel like it correlates with traditional beauty standards and what we associate with femininity. I think outfits that shift the narrative can be just as interesting and actually sometimes even feel more stylish. And you also have all of the different body typing systems which come into play as well. I wanted to use the Kibbe body typing here as an example. I'd say most people would consider me to be some sort of a dramatic. So that means that I should be wearing high-waisted, I should be wearing items that have a lot of structure to them, that really define the waist, sharp pointed shoes, and more structured accessories. I probably shouldn't have really soft waves, but let's ignore that factor. So this outfit here, it's very classic, defines the waist, we have that nice X silhouette, and yeah, I like it. It looks great, looks very, very nice. However, you compare this to the other outfit that I have here, where I've ditched the knit for a black sweater, which I'm wearing loose. I'm wearing a flat shoe that has more of an almond toe, and then a really slouchy trench. So it's kind of hiding my shape. And I actually love this just as much, if not more. Feels more aligned with my style, and it also feels more chill. And I suppose what this actually fails to recognize is the mood that we want our outfits to capture. As someone who is not in a formal office setting, it doesn't really make sense for me to be wearing heavily structured pieces on a day-to-day. So another one of those ones that I hope we can just leave behind in 2026. This one's gonna be a little bit controversial, but no socks with sandals. Now, I feel like every time this discussion comes up, it's either a you love it or you hate it. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that if we're wearing sandals, isn't the point for our toes to breathe? So when we're wearing a sock, it kind of defeats the purpose. And I completely understand that point, but I think from a styling perspective, it can be a great way to add in layers to your look and also create the sense of repetition, cohesion, and an outfit that feels maybe a little bit more exciting to you. So in the example, and I'm pairing it with two different bottoms so you can kind of see that contrast here. I have this beautiful merino top in an olive color, and I want to style it with either the white skirt or the black pants, and then a pair of silver sandals. And by styling it back with a pair of olive socks, I'm creating this sense of repetition in the outfit, and I'm also bookending the look, which feels incredibly clean and crisp. And it's almost like I'm wearing a bodysuit from my shoulders all the way down to my feet, and I kind of love that. It's a little bit fun. It can also be a great way to add contrast to an outfit or an element of the unexpected, especially if you're someone who does tend to dress a little bit more minimally. The final style rule we need to ditch in 2026 is that we can't pair silver and gold together. I'm guessing this rule originated from the idea of wearing jewelry that is all the same temperature. But what I find unusual about it is that often you'll have a jewelry piece that is a mix of yellow and white gold. So that effectively almost looks like a mix of silver and gold, though I know technically it is not. But just from a visual perspective, it does kind of lean into that look. I find some of the most compelling pairings of jewelry do mix metals, and it can be a really fun way to play around with style, to express yourself, and I don't really see why we are limiting what colors we can pair together. This just feels like something we need to stop doing. If you want to wear certain colors together, go for it. A lot of it comes down to how you're styling it and also your own coloring. For some people, a specific combination, whether it's colors or metals, might not feel right, where it really makes another person shine. And going back to what I was saying about the socks, it's a great way to introduce friction and that element of the unexpected. To me, those are two details that the most stylish people always incorporate in their outfits. So there you have it, 9 outdated style rules that we need to ditch in 2026 for better style. I hope that you enjoyed this video, that you found it a little bit fun. And listen, if you really like to adhere to these rules, I think that's great. There is always a time and a place, and sometimes they actually act as the solution to a problem that you have by adhering to them and actually using them as a tool to put together an outfit. But style is subjective and it's fickle and it's ever changing, and I feel like rules like this just sometimes make no sense, and it really does put limitations on our creativity. A huge thank you to Lily Studio for partnering with me on this video. Don't forget you can get 15% off with code Jamie15 on orders over $199, and then 20% off on orders over $399 with the code Jamie20. Everything will be linked in the description box below. A huge thank you for spending some of your day with me. I'm incredibly grateful, and I hope you have the most magical week ahead. I'll see you again soon with another one. Thanks for watching. Bye.